Hi everyone, welcome to Financial Freedom for Gen X with Kirsty and Steve. Just making another video. Thought we'd run you through some of the stuff that's come through. Again, if you remember last time we were speaking about coffee, we've got it there. Cup of coffee, $5. Could be a good pair. Could be a good donation. But anyway, so updated the donation chart, so we're up to $300 from there, and then 4-3 from us here. Obviously, like I said, we're not going to see that in there because we're keeping that out so we can actually do some investing with that to get that to grow a bit faster, but unfortunately we can't do much with that. Now, I'd like to thank a couple of people. So we've had a good friend of ours who deals in editing videos. And he basically came back and said, look, the last video you did had a little bit too much glare, was really difficult to see. So he said, as part of his contribution to us, he has volunteered his services to edit the videos and do some fancy stuff and get it all ready for us and everything else. So I'd like to thank Adam, who's the person who's doing the video editing for us. Legend dude, thank you. Like to thank the new followers that we've got. We've gone up a little bit, but any growth is good growth, so that's good. Supporters, like I said, that are currently supporting us and have asked if we're going to be putting in place Patreon pages and stuff like that, and I said we're not planning on doing a Patreon page at the moment. Obviously, when we find the chateau and we actually buy it and we start doing that aspect of the renovation stuff, then yes, we're going to do the Patreon page, and it's going to have unedited videos and edited videos. You know, unedited would be me doing the stuff up earlier on. Edited would be not having the stuff up from earlier on. Anyway, thank you everyone very much for the likes and shares. Greatly appreciate it. Obviously, the more people we get it out to, the more growth we're going to get. And hence, the new followers came from a couple of people doing likes and shares. So, Q&A, questions and answers. If you don't know what that is, most people do. So again, we've had this question before. We got the same question again, saying why 2 million? If the Australian dollar keeps doing this, it might end up having to be more than 2 million, because we're working at the moment on around 1,400 euros. 1.4 million euros, sorry, which this translates to in euros at the moment. If the Australian dollar keeps going down, then obviously that value is going to keep dropping, which is not going to benefit us. So it might end up being more than that. But again, relative to the Q&As, if you put the questions in the chat, it would work out really well, because then if anyone else has the same question, they'll see it in the chat, and basically we'll answer the chat there, so they'll actually have the answer as well. Not that we don't mind doing this, you know, there's no problem. Are we looking at relocating 100%? Yes and no. Yes, we are looking at relocating. We have family here, so possibly not 100%. We're still looking at coming back and doing travel backwards and forwards, which relates to down here, but we'll come to that in a second. Experience. Kirsty and I've been working in the oil, gas and mining industry for about 29 years. Kirsty and I have owned a business for about 20 years. We recently closed the businesses down just due to the fact that we weren't actually getting the growth that we wanted, and it was getting really hard to manage people and stuff like that. But we are business people. Like, Kirsty's mind is constantly thinking about, you know, how can we do this? How can we do this? How can we do this? And occasionally, like, I'll throw the anchor out and go, slow down, we're going to get there, but, you know, chug along. And she's looking at me behind the thing going, no. But we have the experience to be able to do business, okay? Kirsty's very entrepreneurial relative to her mindset. I'm more visionary. She'll come up to me with a picture and go, can we build this? And go, can we do this? And I'll go, yep, we can. I'll design and everything else. That's my background. Do we speak French? Not at the moment. We are learning. There's a product, an app on phones called Duo. Duolingo. Abbreviated to Duo. Really good app. Very good. Like, we sit there in the mornings and go away, and it teaches you pronunciation as well as spelling, as well as, you know, how to structure it and the context, which, like English language, same word, but has different context. So that works well. The other question we got as well is work experience. Look, we are never going to say no to anyone who wants to come over. If you're quite happy with Indian cooking and Australian cooking, we're quite happy having you come over and help. I've got friends that are carpenters going, well, retired carpenters. They're like, we'll come over and help. I'm like, anyone. Obviously, there's specialist trades in France, like they're stonemasons and stuff. They've been working with that type of material and that type of architecture for years, which is going to benefit them because you won't get it anywhere else. But we will never, ever say no to someone coming over and doing work experience. Obviously, we'll provide you with the food if you can provide us with the help. And obviously we'll provide you with the accommodation. It just might not be luxurious to start with, but it will get better as time goes on. R&D. Research and development. Kirsty's standing in the background. So this is not a spur of the moment thing. We are doing a lot of background work, and we're making sure that we arm ourselves as best possible to be able to go over and fit in and actually do the work properly. So, hence, we're looking into healthcare. The French healthcare system is very similar to the Australian one, which is really good because as much as we understand the Australian one, we're getting to understand the French one. Visas, permanent against visitor visas and everything else. We're still learning about that. If you're a visitor in France, I think you can stay for 6 months and then you've got to step out for a couple of weeks and then you can come back again for 6 months, but you can own property. Permanent obviously is permanent, sorry. Immigration assistant. Now, we are looking at getting assistance from an immigration specialist in France that deals with them. We have recently found a couple of people who deal specifically more with just US based. But obviously, we're not US based, we're Australian based, so we're still looking. If you do know anyone, in the message below, drop it to us, be greatly appreciated. French Heritage Society work. So depending on which chateaus you get, whether it be north, south, east, west, there's certain chateaus that are heritage listed. Now you have different levels. Obviously you have full heritage listing, which is the grounds, the outside, the inside and everything else. And this is their real, beautiful heritage buildings, which you can't do anything with unless you get a heritage designer to do your work with you. Has to be done by a qualified heritage stonemason, woodwork. Like we've just recently found out that most of the tiles aren't actually tiles on the roof, they're slate. So you've got to get a specialized person who deals with just slate tiles to be able to do the work, etc. and all that type of stuff. So all of that is like the top level, and then obviously you've got come down where they've got heritage listing on the outside only and not the inside, which then makes it easier because your outside's got to be done properly. Now the inside, we are not talking about doing things like just modifying it to bring it up to the current standards and everything else. We want to keep it as original as possible. So we're talking about, if they've got arches on the doorways and stuff like that. We're not going to square them off and everything else. We're going to try and put everything back exactly as it was, as to the best of our ability, and obviously as to the best of the budget will allow. So that's pretty much where we're talking about the levels of grants and everything else. And the grants that the governments give you are not 100% to fix it. They give you a percentage, and then obviously we'll have to top it up to make the rest of the percentage and everything else. And that's the levels of listing. So that pretty much covers all of that stuff as we're going. Again, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and join us on our journey. We do appreciate all the work that's being done by people, especially Adam and everyone else that's liking and sharing to help grow the group. So yeah, it's looking forward to it. And remember,
life is always good because we have Red One and Tim Tams.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.